So, you've heard about the carnivore diet and you're thinking seriously about giving it a try, but you've got questions. Good, this is the right video for you. In this video, I've tried to compile as many questions that a beginner or someone who's carnivore curious would have about a carnivore diet, and I'm going to answer each of these questions in turn. There's 33 of these questions, and I may throw in a little more information as well. So stay tuned, listen to this and learn, and then give carnivore a true shot, because I promise it's going to improve your health in at least one way, if not many ways. Now, who am I? I'm Dr. Ken Berry. I'm a family physician. I've been practicing medicine for 22 years, and I've been a carnivore for about 8 years. And I came to carnivore. I started primal, paleo, then low carb, then keto, and then carnivore. And for me personally, carnivore seems to be the best diet for me to optimize my health at my present age. I'm currently 56 years of age, and I don't act my age. You can ask my wife. She'll tell you that's true. So I'm going to go through these questions, and I'm going to give you my answer as a practicing doctor, but also as someone who gets benefit from a carnivore diet. Now, right off the bat, I want to tell you, I don't think everyone in the world needs to adopt and stick to a carnivore diet for the rest of their life. But many people, most people, are going to benefit from doing a 90-day carnivore challenge, whether that's beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, or whether that's meat and butter and seafood and eggs. That's up to you. You can kind of pick your own flavor of carnivore, and I think you'll be able to do that as you listen to this video and hear some of these answers, because you've probably had some of these questions, and I'm going to give you the answer to them so that you can start a carnivore diet or continue a carnivore diet with peace of mind and with the knowledge of knowing that what you're doing is actually making your body healthier. Question number one: what foods can I eat? What foods should I avoid? So on a carnivore diet, you eat only meat, the flesh of animals. Now, any animal will do. Most people try to focus on beef, or one of the ruminant animals: beef, sheep, goat, camel, reindeer, venison, depending on where you live in the world. But it's fine to add some chicken. It's fine to add some pork. It's fine to eat eggs from any fowl. Doesn't have to be chicken eggs. It can be quail eggs or duck eggs or goose eggs, or the eggs of wild birds. That's fine. And then seafood. Most everyone enjoys seafood, and you can include some seafood in your carnivore diet. Some people do, some people don't. It's optional, but I include some seafood in my carnivore diet. Anything that is a plant is not part of a carnivore diet. So you may be coming to carnivore from keto. Many foods are very low in carbohydrates, but they come from plants. Therefore, they're not strictly carnivore. Number two, what are the health benefits of this diet? So a carnivore diet is the very lowest carbohydrate diet that you can eat. And so if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to reverse diabetes, if you're trying to reverse fatty liver, metabolic syndrome, overweight, obesity, any of these things, then the lower carbohydrate diet you eat, the quicker you're going to reverse these things. Also, contrary to popular opinion out there, including the opinion of many dietitians and doctors, red meat is not inflammatory. Red meat is one of the most uninflammatory foods that a human being can eat. So if you're suffering from chronic inflammation or an autoimmune disease, you're going to benefit from a carnivore diet as well. Question number three: don't I need vitamins, minerals, and fiber from plants to be healthy? If you listen to any mainstream outlet of news, whether that's television, internet, or magazines, you might believe, well, there's magic in plants. There's some kind of magical phytonutrients in plants that you can't get from meat. This is false. You can get every vitamin and mineral, every fatty acid and amino acid that your body needs from eating meat, eggs, and seafood. You can actually get vitamins and minerals better from meat, eggs, and seafood than you can from plants. And this sounds exactly backwards to what you may have heard in the mainstream narrative, but this is absolutely true. Now, what about fiber? There's no fiber in a carnivore diet. Did you know that it has never been proven that humans need any fiber at all? First of all, that's never been proven. Secondly, there's no fiber is not considered even by regulatory bodies as an essential nutrient. There's no minimum amount of fiber that you have to get in your diet to have a healthy colon, healthy gut, or healthy body or healthy mind. You hear a lot of talk about this, but when you ask about, hey, where are the randomized control trials in humans that prove that, they have no answer because there are no such trials. Number 4, what makes carnivore different from keto and why is it better for some people? So I mentioned earlier that carnivore is the lowest carbohydrate diet possible. So many of you have went low carb or you've went keto and you've got some good benefits, but you haven't gotten all the benefits that you're looking for, right? So what you've been doing is turning down your carbohydrate intake knob. And I believe that human beings are by design low carbohydrate mammals. There is no reason for any human on planet Earth to eat more than 100 grams of total carbohydrates a day. Any more than that, and you're going to be encouraging disease processes. To begin, you're going to be ramping up the degree of glycation in your body. That's where your cells and tissues get gummed up with excess sugar. Carnivore is the lowest carbohydrate option. And so carnivore is keto. And a lot of people on keto, a lot of keto gurus will say, oh no, carnivore is different. No, it's just if you keep turning down the carbohydrate intake knob far enough, you're going to wind up at carnivore, which is meat, eggs, and seafood. That is the lowest carbohydrate option. And so for some people, they need to be carnivores. They need to eat as close to zero carb as possible so they don't gain weight, so their blood sugar doesn't go up, so they don't develop prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. I'm one of those people. I don't think everybody needs to do that. Some people definitely are going to benefit from doing a 90-day carnivore challenge, but then you can decide, do I want to stay carnivore? Do I want to go back keto, maybe split the difference and do ketovore? Or do I want to go back to low carb? And keep in mind, all these diets are on what I call the proper human diet spectrum. So whether you're carnivore, keto, or low carb, I think those are the healthiest options. And so at any given moment, if you're like, yeah, I'm keto, but I want to do better, let's go carnivore. And then after 90 days of that, you can go back to keto or you can go to low carb. You can play around on the proper human diet spectrum. Number 5. Does saturated fat and cholesterol clog my arteries and raise blood pressure? Because you hear this very commonly, typically from plant-based cardiologists and plant-based dietitians. Again, your key question is going to be, could you please show me the randomized control trials in humans that prove that? To which an honest answer will be, well, there aren't any such trials. We believe this is true, but we don't know this is true. That would be the honest answer. In which case you can say, okay, so there's no research proving that eating saturated fat clogs my arteries or raises my blood pressure or makes me gain fat. That's correct. There is no research that proves that eating high cholesterol foods clog my arteries. No, that's exactly right. There's no proof of that whatsoever. And indeed, as more and more hundreds of thousands of people adopt and stick to a carnivore diet, you would think that if eating saturated fat and cholesterol actually clogged your arteries, caused heart disease, caused high blood pressure, that there'd be carnivores just dropping like flies left and right, right? But we don't see that. Actually, what we see is these people, they're having far fewer heart attacks than people eating the standard Western diet or even a plant-based diet. These people just don't get sick when they're on a carnivore diet. And so I think that as the years and decades go on, we're going to get some research that shows that, oh, actually, this is a very, very healthy way to eat. Number 6, won't this diet cause constipation or other gut issues? No. What we've seen is people who already have pre-existing gut issues like reflux, heartburn, gastritis, esophagitis, further down the pipe, irritable bowel syndrome, irritable bowel disease, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, chronic hemorrhoids. All these people get relief from their gut problems. And so if a carnivore diet were bad for your gut in some way, or if it caused constipation, then these people would get sicker, not less sick. But what they invariably notice is that their ulcerative colitis, Crohn's, IBD, IBS, heartburn, reflux, all the things regarding the gut get better when they go on a carnivore diet. So it just doesn't make any common sense that a carnivore diet would cause any gut problems. Number 7, how do I get vitamin C, magnesium, all the other nutrients that we've been taught are found in plants? I've got to eat bananas for potassium, right? Actually, no. You can get plenty of magnesium and potassium and all the other minerals from eating meat, eggs, and seafood. You can actually get those minerals better from eating meat, eggs, and seafood than you can from eating plants. One example is iron. You can get iron, all the iron you need for a day, from 4 ounces of red meat. You'd have to eat over a pound of spinach, considerably more than a pound, to get the same amount of usable iron from eating spinach. So meat is the most nutrient-dense food on planet Earth. There is nothing that has more nutrition packed into it than meat, eggs, and seafood. Now, what about vitamin C? Well, vitamin C has to compete with sugar to get into your cells so that your cells can use them. And when you're eating a higher carbohydrate diet, your blood's full of much more sugar. Therefore, you have to ingest lots more vitamin C. When you're on a very, very low carbohydrate diet, like a carnivore diet, you don't have to eat as much or ingest as much or take a supplement of vitamin C as much. And indeed, if you're eating any organ meat at all, like liver, spleen, they're going to have pretty darn good amounts of vitamin C in them. And indeed, even fresh red meat has some vitamin C. Now, if eating only meat, eggs, and seafood caused low vitamin C, caused scurvy, then what we would see in the millions of people who are eating a carnivore diet is we would see these people going to their doctor left and right with symptoms of scurvy. Poor wound healing, bleeding gums, teeth falling out, wounds not healing at all. But we don't see that. We see the exact opposite of that. We see people whose gums used to bleed all the time now don't bleed anymore. We see people who had severe gingivitis and periodontal disease. It's getting better on a carnivore diet. We see people report that when I cut myself or I get an abrasion, it heals so much faster now that I'm on a carnivore diet than before. So again, we know you're getting plenty of vitamin C on a carnivore diet, but you can always take a low dose vitamin C supplement if you want to, but I would not recommend taking a high dose vitamin C supplement. It can increase your risk of kidney stones. Number 8, isn't a high protein diet unsafe for my kidneys? People, this is a very common myth out there. Many doctors and dietitians will say, oh, that's too much meat. That's hard on your kidneys. Again, this is complete and utter. It's a lie. It's a big fat lie. There's no truth to this at all. And so, in fact, when people who have pre-existing chronic kidney disease, polycystic kidney disease, when they adopt a carnivore diet, their kidney function actually improves. Now, if all that red meat was bad for your kidneys, their kidney function would worsen. It wouldn't get better, right? And then when you go back to the research again, there's not a shred of research that eating lots of animal protein is in any way bad for your kidneys. Your kidneys are made of animal protein. They need you to eat animal protein to rebuild them. Animal protein is good for your kidneys. It's not bad for your kidneys. Number 9, aren't there studies showing that red meat increases the risk of colon cancer or some other cancer? No. Again, this is observational, epidemiological research that shows only a possible weak association. Ask your dietitian, ask your doctor if they say something like this. Well, can you show me the randomized controlled trial in humans that proves that? If they answer honestly, we'll have to say, well, there's no such research. So you're at your liberty. There is no proof that eating red meat increases your risk of colon cancer. This is a myth. This has never been proven, and I predict it never will be proven. Number 10, isn't eating lots of meat bad for the environment? So first of all, I'm a doctor, and this is a YouTube channel about health and nutrition. I'm not a climatologist. But I have been told by people who study climate science that red meat, cows grazing in pasture, is not actually what's destroying the environment. It's all the jet planes and all the cars and all the diesel trucks and all the factories. That's what's actually harming the environment, not cows and sheep grazing in the pasture. So if you came here for health and nutrition, you're at the right place. But if you want to learn about climate science, there are other great sources for that out there. I am not a climatologist. Number 11, isn't animal fat too calorie dense to eat in large quantities? In other words, won't eating fat make me fat? No, that's not how human physiology works. Eating sugar, which is turned into triglycerides and fatty acids, which are then stored as fat, that's how you get fat. Eating a diet rich in sucrose, glucose, fructose, this is what causes your body to store fat. Also, when you're eating a diet high in sugars, that raises your insulin level very high, which is a signal to your body to store fat. When you're eating a carnivore diet, your blood sugar comes back down to a very healthy level, and that allows your insulin level to come back down to a very healthy level, and that unlocks the fat stored on your body and allows your body to metabolize it and use it for energy and then get rid of it. Number 12, do I have to eat steak all the time? Because I see Sean Baker eating ribeye all the time. You eat a lot of steak, Dr. Berry. Is that what do? I have to eat steak? No, you can eat any meat. And here's what you have to understand. The cheapest ground beef at your supermarket is healthier for you than the most expensive bread in the supermarket. The cheapest hot dogs and sausages and bologna are healthier for you to eat than the most expensive breakfast cereal in your grocery. Once you make that connection, okay. So of course, grass-fed, grass-finished is a little bit healthier. But if you're on a budget, the cheapest ground beef, the cheapest hot dogs, the cheapest bologna, the cheapest sausage is better for you than the most expensive plant-based foods in the supermarket. Once you understand that key concept, most of your other questions about carnivore just kind of fall in line. Number 13, are there any condiments or spices allowed? For most people, yes. You can use any zero carb, zero sugar condiment in moderation, right? Because all condiments are made from plants. Unless it's a homemade fish sauce, it's going to have some plant matter in there, which could lead to increasing your carbohydrate intake, or if you're fighting inflammation or an autoimmune condition, could cause some inflammation. So my favorite condiment is sugar-free mustard. It has zero carbs. You can put that on anything. It makes anything taste a little bit better. Many people get used to not using any condiments on a carnivore diet, and they love their carnivore diet. Most people can use spices, sauces, rubs, condiments, as long as they're sugar-free and as close to zero carb as possible. Number 14, is it okay to drink alcohol at all? First of all, alcohol is poison. Any amount of alcohol is bad for you. With that being said, I highly encourage you not to drink alcohol daily. If you want to have one mixed drink on the weekend that's zero sugar, zero carb, I think that's probably fine in the big picture, keeping in mind it's still poison. The less you drink, the healthier you will be, the longer you will live, the happier your liver will be. But an occasional drink on carnivore for most people is not a big deal. I would avoid beer. Beer is for frat boys. That's not for adults. I would avoid wine. There is no health benefits from drinking wine whatsoever, regardless of what you've heard in the past. I would focus on zero sugar, zero calorie alcohol. If you're going to have an occasional, once a week, once a month drink, then it's probably not a big deal. Number 15, won't eating only meat be too costly for my budget? No, because remember earlier I said you don't have to buy $22, $25 a pound, this, that, or the other. You can buy the cheapest ground beef in your supermarket. If you read the ingredients carefully, you can buy very inexpensive hot dogs, bologna, potted meat, different kinds of deli meats. You can buy these meats very, very cheaply. They're still going to have the vast majority of the nutrient density that any meat will have. Now, if you've got the money, I encourage you to buy grass-finished beef from a local rancher. I want you to encourage that economy, but if you're on a budget, this is not mandatory at all. You can do cheap carnivore just fine. I've got videos on my YouTube channel about cheap carnivore options. Also, when you're eating the fat that comes with the meat, right? You're eating the yolk that comes with the egg. You're going to be getting plenty of animal protein, which is very satiating, and plenty of animal fat, which is also very satiating. So what you're going to notice is that you're going to go from eating 3 meals a day with snacks in between, so effectively 6 meals a day. You're going to go from that to eating once or twice, maybe 3 times a day with no snacking in between, because you're not nearly as hungry nearly as often. So what you're going to wind up doing is just eating less total food. And although I know that many of the ultra processed foods made of ground up grains and some sugar and some vegetable seed oil, they're very, very cheap. And they make the meat look very expensive. But when you actually start doing your carnivore budget and get used to carnivore, you're going to notice, hey, this is costing me about the same as my previous plant-based diet, or maybe even a little bit less. Number 16, will I experience side effects like fatigue, cravings, or digestive issues? Maybe. Let's go through each one. So most people are afraid to eat salt. They think salt's bad for them, which is not true. So when you start your carnivore diet, you need to salt your food to taste. You may also need to buy an unflavored electrolyte supplement and take 1 dose of that a day to make sure you're getting enough magnesium and potassium. And I talk about this in other YouTube videos I have on my channel about how when your insulin level is dropping back to normal, you're going to have a diuresis. You're going to pee out a lot of unhealthy fluid that you've been holding in your body. And with that goes a lot of magnesium and potassium. Many people don't have to keep taking this electrolyte supplement forever, but they do need it for a few weeks when they're getting used to the carnivore diet. Salting your food to taste helps you feel better. Keep in mind that many people, maybe even you, are addicted to sugar. Sugar addiction, carbohydrate addiction is a very, very real thing. There are books written about this. There's lots of research showing that this is absolutely true. And so when you start to break any addiction, whether it's cigarettes, whether it's alcohol, or whether it's sugar, you're going to have 3 to 14 days of withdrawal syndromes. And if you look up what are the symptoms of tobacco withdrawal, alcohol withdrawal, or sugar withdrawal, they're all the same symptoms. We used to call this the keto flu before we made the connection. This is not keto flu. That's not what this is. This is sugar withdrawals. That's what these symptoms are. Salting your food to taste, getting an electrolyte supplement, at least for a few weeks, and then realizing, hey, I'm probably a sugar addict. I'm going to have some withdrawal symptoms as I go from eating this unhealthy diet to eating this much more healthy diet. That'll help you understand what's going on in your body, and you can just say, oh yeah, this is short-lived. This is not going to happen for long. And then digestive issues. Some people do get diarrhea when they make any dietary change. You actually do an internet search and say vegan diet diarrhea, and you'll find hundreds of blog posts and articles that when people converted to a vegan diet, they had diarrhea for a week or 2 or 3. Some people, when they convert to any diet, say you bought a pre-packaged meal diet, you're going to have diarrhea for a few days. This is very common. Don't worry about this. It's short-lived. As soon as your gut microbiome adapts to this new, healthier diet, your diarrhea will go away. Number 17, how do I manage social situations? What do I do if I'm eating with friends or family members where meat isn't the main dish? Several things. You can take your own meat. Nobody's ever offended if you bring a dish, right? You can bring your own carnivore meal and say, yeah, I'm trying this new diet. I'm trying to get healthier. And most people are not going to have any negative comments about that. If you're eating with friends or family who are vegan, then just like a vegan who was eating at a house that eats meat, you would announce ahead of time, hey, I'm vegan. You know, if you could just make me a vegan alternative, that I would really appreciate that. You can say, hey, I'm on this carnivore diet, so you can make me some ground beef hamburgers, or you could make me some unbreaded chicken legs, or whatever that works with their budget and works with their menu. Or you could always take your own. But most people most friends, most family members, if you phrase this right, they're going to try to help you. So don't say, oh, I'm on this carnivore diet because it's so popular right now. You're going to say, hey, I've got metabolic syndrome, or I've got diabetes, or I've got high blood pressure, or I've got fatty liver, or I'm obese and my doctor said that's a risk factor. I might have a heart attack because of that. So I'm on this carnivore diet to improve my health. Also throwing in the fact that you are a recovering sugar addict, and then say, please don't try to tempt me. I need your help. You're my friend. You're my family member. Don't tempt me. Try to help me, please. Most people, if you phrase it that way, they're very happy to help. Number 18, should I cut out plants gradually, or should I stop eating them all at once? It depends. Some people are teetotalers, and they can go from plant-based diet, which is what the standard Western diet is. It's a plant-based diet, 70 to 80% plants. They can go overnight and switch to carnivore. They don't have any ill side effects. It's not dangerous in any way to do this. But some people are not teetotalers. They are moderators, and they need to slowly adjust. So they first will go low carb for a few weeks, then keto for a few weeks, then ketovore for a week or two, and then carnivore. Either way you want to do this is totally fine, as long as you stick to your carnivore once you get there. Number 19, how much food should I eat daily? How do I know if I'm eating too much or not enough? Well, when you go from eating the ultra-processed diet that the big food companies want you to eat, back to eating a proper human diet, whether that's low carb, keto, ketovore, carnivore, with only real whole natural foods, your body's got this built-in thermostat. We actually have several hormones that tell us when we're full. But if you're eating the ultra-processed stuff that's literally designed by scientists to be overeaten, to be hyperpalatable, you can't hear the signal from those hormones. But when you're eating a carnivore diet, you can actually hear your satiety signals, your satiety hormones saying, whoa, that's enough, you're full, stop eating. And it's because it's so full of healthy animal protein and healthy animal fat that when you've eaten enough nutrition for your body, those hormones elevate and you get a very clear signal, oh, it's time to stop eating. Okay, I'm done. So you don't have to track, you don't have to weigh, you don't have to measure. I think for most people that's completely unnecessary. Now, if you are a tracker and a measurer, I think it's fine to do that. If you're a macro counter, I think it's fine to do that. But it's not necessary. Your body is the evolutionary culmination of hundreds of thousands of generations that did not have a macro counter. They didn't have a nutrition scale. When they were hungry, they ate. When they were full, they stopped. You can benefit from that DNA. You've got it in your body right now. You don't have to do any of that unless you just want to. Number 20, can I stay on this diet forever? My answer, yes. If you're like, man, I've never felt better than when I was on a carnivore diet, yes, you can absolutely stay on this diet forever. Do you have to stay on this diet forever? Probably not. I think 85% of people after 90 days of beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, or meat, eggs, and seafood, they can go back to ketovore, keto, low carb, and they can do just fine. Always remembering that if you start to have trouble, you can come right back to a carnivore diet. But I don't think that the vast majority of people need to be carnivores for the rest of their life. But if you find that because of an autoimmune condition, because of chronic inflammation, or because you're like me, you fatten very easily and develop prediabetes very easily, it is absolutely safe and fine to stay on a carnivore diet forever. Number 21, will I ever need to add plants back into my diet? No, there is no nutrition that you can get from plants that you cannot get better from meat, eggs, and seafood. I encourage you to learn to like liver and other organ meat and include 2 to 4 ounces of that in your diet once a week. If you cannot learn to like that, there are liver capsules that are dehydrated liver, like ancestral supplements. There's a link in the show notes if you want to check that out. But rather than buy that, I would much prefer that you learn to like liver just like your ancestors all did. Number 22. Will I lose strength or endurance without carbohydrates? This is something that many of us have been taught. You've got to have the sugar gel when you're running. You've got to, if you're playing soccer as a child, you've got to have the little orange wedges every 5 minutes. No, no. Your liver makes as much sugar as your body needs anytime your body needs it. Your liver does not need you eating the sugar gel or drinking the pre-energy with drink with lots of sugar or eating the little cutie oranges while you're engaging in an athletic competition. None of that's needed. The physiology about this is very, very clear. There are multiple examples in archaeology and anthropology of people being very athletic, much more athletic than you probably currently are, eating just meat, eggs, and seafood. Number 23, will I feel more alert and focused, or will I experience brain fog? Good question. One of the main benefits that people notice when they adopt and stick to a carnivore diet is that their mental acuity, their mental clarity, their mental speed all increase. And we don't know exactly why this is. We have several theories, whether it's from brain inflammation, whether it's from just the high sugar amount from your previous high carb diet, mucking up your brain and your neurons. Nobody really knows, but the disappearance of brain fog is one of the main attributes, one of the main things that people brag about when they start and stick to a carnivore diet. Number 24, how will I know this diet's working? What health markers should I check? So as before you start carnivore, if possible, I would love it if you checked a hemoglobin A1C, a fasting insulin, a lipid panel, and then an HSCRP, which is a marker of inflammation. And then every 3 to 6 months, you can repeat these labs and you can see exactly what this diet is doing to their metabolic health. There are many other lab tests that I talk about in other YouTube videos that you can have checked if you want a deeper look into how your body's reacting to this. Number 25, isn't plant-based eating the healthiest diet? No. This is a very, very popular misconception currently. You hear this everywhere, that a plant-based diet is the healthiest, a plant-based diet is the best. Again, ask for the randomized controlled trials in humans that prove this to be the case. There are no such studies. We only have observational research that shows a very possible weak association between eating this and this health outcome. Nutrition research is basically not going to help you at all. If anybody says, oh, there are hundreds of studies showing this about meat or that about meat, say, well, how many of them are randomized and controlled and in humans? And however many you find, print them out and give them to me. I'd love to read them. And I'd love to forward one to Dr. Barry because he would love to read them too, because he can't find them and he's been looking for a decade. Number 26, aren't plants necessary for antioxidants, for fighting inflammation? How does a carnivore diet reduce inflammation? So it turns out that all plants contain something called anti-nutrients and other things called phytochemicals. And in some people, they can eat these things and it doesn't seem to affect their health at all. Other people eat them and they have inflammation, either inflammation in their skin or in their joints or in their gut, or inflammation that shows up as worsening mental health. And so, no, plants are not uninflammatory. For many people, they're quite inflammatory. Red meat, eggs with the yolk, and seafood are the most uninflammatory foods on the planet. Number 27, don't humans need a balanced diet of both meat and plants? Aren't we omnivores? Shouldn't we eat the rainbow? No. Again, this is very popular. It's a hugely widely held belief that you should eat the rainbow, all things in moderation, blah, 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 blah. Show me the randomized controlled trials in humans. Number one. Number two, haven't you tried every other possible variation of a diet that's heavy in plants? Haven't you tried a vegetarian diet? Haven't you tried eating lots of whole grains, lots of fruit and vegetable, lots of fruit juice smoothies, lots of fruit juice? It didn't work, right? So let's do 90 days of beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, or 90 days of meat, eggs, and seafood, and see if that doesn't help. What millions of people all around the world on every continent except Antarctica are actually noticing is that, God, when I eat only meat, my levels of inflammation in my body actually go down. It's like red meat is uninflammatory. It's like there's something in the plants. It's mainly the sugar, hint, hint, it's mainly the vegetable seed oils. It's mainly the fructose. That's what's causing the inflammation. But there are other phytochemicals as well causing inflammation that some of you guys react to more than others. Get all that out of your diet for at least 90 days. 90 days of carnivore, then you can start to experiment adding plants back into your diet and see how you react to them. Number 28, can I do carnivore if I have specific health issues? So, okay, what if I've got diabetes, autoimmune? What if I have thyroid disease? What if I have my thyroid removed? What if I don't have a gallbladder? What if I've had this, that, literally any medical condition that you can ask me, I'm going to answer a carnivore diet is healthy for you and will improve your health. There are about 7,000 people in the United States who should not eat a carnivore diet. How do you know if you're one of these 7,000 people? Have you ever been to a pediatric geneticist? If you have, then you might not be able to eat a carnivore diet. Have you ever been in the neonatal intensive care unit or the pediatric intensive care unit because of a genetic problem, because of a metabolism problem? If so, you may be one of the 7,000 people that can't eat a carnivore diet without talking to your doctor specifically. For all the other millions and millions and millions of you, yes, regardless of what medical condition you have, you will benefit from eating a carnivore diet. Number 29, how can I handle cravings for sweets and carbs? Will those cravings go away over time? I love that you're using the word craving because that's a first cousin to the word addiction. People crave cigarettes when they're smokers. People crave alcohol when they're alcoholics. People crave sugar when they're sugarholics or carboholics. Knowing that you are a sugarholic or carboholic is going to help you fight this addiction, which you will break in somewhere between 2 months and 2 weeks and 6 weeks. It'll be broken and it'll be gone. Every now and then you'll think about sugar. You might crave it a little bit, but the cravings get weaker and weaker and weaker with time. Trust me. Let me just say, hi, I'm Dr. Barry. I'm a sugarholic. Okay? My sugar cravings now are 99% less severe than they were back when I was eating the rainbow, eating the mixed diet, eating the paleo with lots of vegetables, eating plant-based. My cravings then were insane, and I just couldn't say no to them for very many hours before I gave in and ate the sugar. Now, on a carnivore diet for over 7 years, now it's much, much less difficult for me to say no to those sugar cravings, and this will happen for you too as time goes on. Number 30, can this diet be adapted for families? Can my kids eat carnivore? Yes. For the majority of human history, if you look back in anthropology and paleoanthropology, all humans were predominantly super carnivores, meaning the most of their food came from meat, eggs, and seafood. They would eat some plants, but the majority of what they ate was meat, eggs, and seafood. Guess what their kids ate? They didn't run to the store and get them some Gerber smushed up squash or baby carrots. They ate meat too. They ate eggs too. They ate seafood too. If your child is over 4, 5, or 6 months of age, has 2 or 3 little teeth, is grabbing things and putting it in their mouth and watching you eat and wanting to eat with you, they can eat exactly what you're eating on a carnivore diet. That's how Nisha and I raised both Bonnie and Beckett. Number 31, what about organ meats? Is it mandatory that I eat liver, heart, spleen, other organs? I highly encourage you to experiment with them. There are hundreds of recipes online that you can look up with a quick internet search and learn how to make liver more palatable, learn how to cook heart. It may sound gross to you. It may not be something you or your family's ever done before, but I promise you, if you go back enough generations in time, your family used to eat liver and heart and spleen and every other organ routinely. It was part of your family heritage, regardless of what your current religion is, regardless of where you're from in the world. If you go back enough generations, your family ate the organs, okay? And you should try to learn to like the organs. Until you learn to like them, you can use Ancestral Supplement's liver supplement, or they have others as well. There's a link in the show notes if you want to try them out. I would much prefer it if you didn't buy this. I'd much prefer it if you learn to like your liver, because liver is the ultimate nutrient-dense superfood on planet Earth. There is no argument that can be made against that. Number 32, is fasting part of a carnivore diet? Do I have to fast? You don't have to fast. You don't have to set your watch and say, okay, I'm not going to eat again until this certain time. That's what people mean by fasting. You don't have to do that. You can just eat animal protein and animal fat until you're comfortably stuffed, and then go about your business. Go outside and play. Go back to work. What will happen naturally is that the fat and protein will keep you satiated for much, much longer. And in fact, many people, they'll go on carnivore eating 3 meals a day, maybe even trying to eat some snacks in between, but they just fall away from the snacking because they're just not hungry. They'd rather keep doing what they're doing. They'd rather keep enjoying themselves rather than stop and have to eat some bacon or some boiled eggs or something as a snack. If you eat to your full on your carnivore meals, you won't have to have carnivore snacks. And many people will go from 3 meals a day down to 2 meals a day. Some people will even go to 1 meal a day because they just don't get hungry, especially if you're obese or severely obese right now. That's a blessing, because that just built-in effortless fasting is going to help keep your insulin level very, very low normal, and it's going to help you metabolize and utilize and get rid of all that stored body fat that you've been trying to get rid of for years. This is how you do it almost effortlessly. Number 33, do I need to take any supplements, or will meat alone provide everything I need? The only supplements that I see that carnivores need pretty routinely is vitamin D3. In the winter, you're not getting enough sunlight. You may need to supplement with vitamin D3. And since you're taking D3, you might as well take vitamin K2 along with it. And then iodine. If there's no iodine in the soil that the animal grazed on, there won't be any iodine in the meat either. So vitamin D3, vitamin K2, and iodine really, and if you're eating liver and heart and spleen, you might not even need to supplement with them. The carnivore diet with organs is really the only diet on planet Earth where you literally don't have to take any supplements whatsoever to have complete and total optimal health at your current age. Now, that's all the questions I could come up with. If you have a carnivore question, please put it in the comments. I'm going to come back to this video and I'm going to answer comments every time I get a few minutes. And so put your question in the comments if I didn't answer your question on this video. Also, keep in mind, I've got hundreds of other videos on my YouTube channel about carnivore, about keto. Also, keep in mind, if nobody in your household, your spouse, your family, if they're like, carnivore's stupid, we're not going to support you in this, you can get support for your carnivore diet. We have a private, protected community that you can join that's very inexpensive, and you will then be part of a tribe of thousands and thousands of carnivores and meat-heavy diet eaters all around the world who will help